How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Rangers Rundown. Not the opening night game that we would have liked to see from the Rangers based on this score. So let's talk about it. Before we launch into the game, just a couple things. Reeves was in the lineup tonight. I know he was injured in one of the preseason games, but he did make it into the lineup tonight, which was nice to see. Also, some things happened with Kravtsov over the past couple days. Apparently, he was sent down to the minors. He was sent down to Hartford, and he didn't like that very much. I don't know the conversations that were had between management and Kravtsov. I don't know what reason they gave him for him going down to Hartford, but in any event, he did not like it. He is not reporting to Hartford. He is choosing to not report to Hartford, which means he's about to get suspended. And the Rangers have given him permission, or rather his agent permission, to start talking to other teams to figure out a trade. So we opened up space on the roster for Kravtsov to figure out whether or not he was going to be a piece of this team. And now he's going to get traded for 5 cents on the dollar, 10 cents on the dollar. You can't go up to a team and say, hey, we're about to suspend this guy and he doesn't want to play for us, but let's make a trade to get all of his value back. That's just not going to happen. So over the next, couple weeks, maybe months, see Kravtsov get traded, and maybe we get a pick in return. Who knows? It might be a 1-for-1 with a team that's also having problems with an up-and-coming player. That almost happened with Elias Anderson and Puljujarvi with the Oilers. Maybe that happens with Kravtsov. Who knows? Remains to be seen. But let's launch into the game tonight. The opening lineup, top line, Lafreniere, Zibanejad, Kreider, then Panarin, Strome, Kakko, Gaudreau, Hedl, and Hunt, Blais, Rooney, and Reeves. D pairs, obviously Lindgren, Fox, Miller, Trouba, and then Tenorti and Nemeth. Georgiev was in net tonight, which at first I thought was weird because obviously he is the backup goalie. But I figure they want Shesterkin in the net tomorrow night for the home opener at Madison Square Garden, since they do have a back-to-back and they will be playing tomorrow night. So let's dive into it. First period, Wilson is on to start the game. Reeves is not. I think a fair few of us in the fan base were expecting a line brawl to start the game. There was not a single fight tonight. There was a little scrum a little bit into the first period, but they didn't call it a fight. They called it roughing on both of the players. So there was not a single credited fight during this game, in a game where we figured there'd be at least 3 or 4. So do with that what you will. 30 seconds in, Fox had a good shot, and then at 1:52, Blais and Van Riemsdyk take offsetting roughing penalties, and then LaPierre also takes a high sticking penalty, so the Rangers do end up with an early power play. Nothing would happen, though. Shortly after that power play ends, Nemeth would take a slashing penalty, and on that power play for the Capitals, Oshie would score a power play goal. It was a cross-ice pass to Ovechkin. It squeaks underneath Georgiev's pads. He doesn't know it's behind him. Oshie reaches back, pushes it into the net. 5:12, Kakko robbed right in front. Panarin pass behind the net to Kakko. He's standing right in front of the goalie, tries to put it in. Goalie catches it. It was a very nice save. Kakko was robbed. Reeves with a couple solid hits. I think he ended up with 5 or 6 hits tonight, Reeves. So he's out there. Blais too. Whenever Blais was on the ice, it seemed like he wanted to hit somebody. And when he did, you felt it as somebody watching. Blais hits pretty hard. There was a good minute of sustained pressure for the Rangers about halfway through the period, with Fox leading the charge. Fox had a very good first period. Kreider, big hit on Dowds right in front of the Caps bench, trying to send a message. And then at 9:22, Jensen would score a goal for the Caps, putting them up 2-0. However, it was offsides. The Rangers would challenge that call, and they would win. So the Caps go from being up 2-0 back to 1. Shots are 7-3 about halfway through the period. So the Rangers came out guns blazing. They're shooting. They're getting shots on goal. They're just not getting any to go in to the net. And at this point, Georgiev has handled the puck and cleared it away from the net twice. And both times, a Capital player was the first one to touch the puck. So I was getting a little worried that Georgiev might be overhandling the puck based on his skill set. It never really bit him in the butt during the game, but I feel like Georgiev is not a goalie that should be handling the puck all that much. I just got that sense from the game tonight. 14-22, Kakko had another big chance, again from a Panarin pass, so those two are developing quite a bit of chemistry together. 16-18, Blais with a big hit on Sprong in the corner. Again, whenever Blais was on the ice, he hit somebody pretty hard. I think he ended up with 3 or 4 big hits tonight too. And then Reeves ends up on the back of a Caps player. I missed who exactly it was for like 3 seconds. Like he was getting a piggyback ride from one of the Caps players during a little scrum in the corner. It was just weird to see. 18:56, towards the end of the first period, Kreider takes a slashing penalty. So Washington has a power play, end of the first into the beginning of the second. They start the second period with 56 seconds of power play time. No fights, again, in the entire game. It's the end of the first period. I'm thinking, okay, maybe we'll see some fights in the second period, but we didn't. Rangers kill off the power play, the Caps power play at the beginning of the second period, and then at 1:59, Eller would take a tripping penalty. Power play starts with a shorthanded attempt by Washington. Always nice to see. Blais getting some power play time on the second power play unit, which is nice because he's a big body. He'll probably play a similar role that Kreider does on the first power play. Big body in front of the net, looking for deflections, looking for those greasy goals. 7 minutes in, Washington is controlling a lot of play in the second period. Washington dominated the second period of this hockey game. About 7:50, Blais and Hedl collide into each other in the D zone, and they both kind of were wincing on their way to the bench, but neither of them sustained any long-term injuries that would keep them out of the game, which was nice to see. Lafreniere and Kuznetsov exchanging niceties partway through this period in the corner. So Lafreniere not backing down from not fights, but, intense moments, which is nice to see for the youngster. Halfway through the period, Trouba completely saves a goal. It would have absolutely been a goal if Trouba didn't just sprawl out to block a pass that was looking for a super easy tip-in. If Trouba doesn't block that pass, it goes in the net. Caps go up even sooner than they did. 11:29, Lafreniere takes a tripping penalty. Gaudreau is out to take the face-off. He's going to get a lot of penalty kill time because he's very good at winning those face-offs, which you need on the penalty kill. But at 12:38, Schultz would score a power play goal. It was a point shot, deflected off of Zibanejad's stick and into the goal, so an own goal for Zibanejad, but obviously it goes to Schultz. And then, what is that, 24 seconds later, Lapierre would score his first NHL goal, so congratulations to him. Fortunately, he's on the wrong team. So the Caps then go up another score with 2 quick goals right in a row in the middle of that second period, and spirits are waning. 15:36, Wilson would take a tripping penalty. The stick got caught in Blais' skate, and it got torqued a little bit. I was worried Blais was going to hurt his leg or foot a little bit on that, but he was fine. And it takes the Rangers almost a minute, almost half of their power play to finally set something up, but nothing would happen. The Rangers went 14 minutes without a shot on goal. Their last shot on goal before that power play was at about 4 minutes into the period. And they wouldn't get another shot on goal until about like 14 minutes later, 13 minutes later. It was not a good period for the Rangers. And then Trouba took a holding penalty towards the end of that period. Wouldn't amount to anything on the Capital side, but again, way too many penalties being taken by the Rangers tonight. Caps outshoot the Rangers 15-5 in that second period, 15-5. But we come out in the third period. 2 minutes in, another big hit by Blais. Like I said, we're going to see a lot of that from him. It was nice to see tonight. 2:20, he took a cross-checking penalty. That was Blais. And then 17 seconds in, Ovechkin would score a power play goal. So rebound in front, he puts it away. And with that goal, he tied Marcel Dion for 5th all-time in NHL history, 4 goals. So congratulations to him. Wouldn't be the end of his work tonight, though. 3:53, Eller would take a tripping penalty, and Lindgren would take a holding penalty. So there's 4-on-4 for 2 minutes. Capo with a couple of really good chances on that power play, but again, couldn't quite score. He had 4 pretty good chances tonight, so he's hungry and he's looking for goals, which is good. 7:42, Gaudreau had a pretty open shot. One of the only pretty open shots that the Rangers had all night didn't go in. Caps goalie playing really well tonight. 8:27, Orlov took a cross-checking penalty, and finally, about halfway through the period, Kreider would score a power play goal, the first Rangers goal of the season. Kreider on the power play. He's in front, deflection into the net. Always nice to see. It was their 4th deflection try of the power play. This power play was just firing on all cylinders. They were trying for those deflections, and on the 4th deflection try of the power play, Kreider finally puts it in. I was getting worried at this point that the Rangers would get shut out in the first game of the season for the 2nd year in a row. Because remember, first game of last season, they got completely walloped by the Islanders, to then wallop them the second game. It was a weird way to start last season, but they did not get shut out tonight, which is always nice to see. 9:57, Gaudreau takes a high sticking penalty, and then at 10:05, Oshie would take a tripping penalty. So we have 4-on-4 for about 1:52. 4-on-4 ends. The Rangers have an 8-second power play, which is nothing to even be excited about. 8 seconds is not a lot of time to do anything, but Ovechkin would score within those 8 seconds for a shorthanded goal, which puts him alone 5th all-time in NHL history for goal scoring. So on an 8-second power play for the Rangers, Ovechkin finds the back of the net again for a shorthanded goal, his 2nd of the night. Nothing else of consequence really in the final 8 minutes of the game. Georgiev was never pulled. There wasn't really anything intense, no fantastic shots from either team through the end of the game. By the end of the game, shots 24-27. Rangers with 24, Caps with 27. Face-off percentage 60.8 for the Rangers. The Rangers did really well in the face-off dot tonight. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. Like, face-off percentage is something that a lot of people care about. The more face-offs you win, the more time you have to control the puck. But while you're controlling the puck, you need to do something with it. Power play went 1 for 5 tonight. Hits 26-12 in favor of the Rangers. Blocks 8-13 in favor of the Caps. So the Rangers hit a lot tonight, but they probably should have blocked a little bit more. So the Caps end up winning their home opener of the season 5-1. And they end up moving up in this division. I'll always have the division down here in the order that they are with their records up on top. I put the records on there before the start of the games that evening, so obviously some of these are going to be different now that the games are over, but I'll always update it, at the beginning of each game moving forward. I think defensively, the Rangers have a lot to talk about. If Shesterkin was in the net, would the score be 5-1? Who knows? I think if Shesterkin was in the net, the Capitals still win this game. Maybe it's not 5-1, but the Caps were just the better team tonight, and the Rangers need to really talk defensively about how they can settle into the structure. Again, it's the first game of the season, so nobody should be freaking out. I mean, 5-1 is a pretty good beating, but again, it's the first game of the season. Tenorti was in the lineup. I'm not worried. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. We'll see what the lineup is tomorrow night at their home opener against the Stars. Again, the Stars, not an awful team, but not one of the top 10 in the league. So hopefully they come out with a victory tomorrow night. We can see maybe the defense solidifies a little bit better, little tweaks to the lineup now that Kravtsov isn't in it. And we'll probably see Lundqvist in the lineup instead of Tenorti on that bottom pair. So we'll see if that makes a difference. And then just stop taking too many penalties. Like, the Caps were 3 for 6 tonight. And for a team to score 3 power play goals in a game doesn't happen that often, but when you're playing against the Caps, it's a good chance it's going to happen. But they had 6 opportunities, and they cashed in on 3 of them. You can't take 6 penalties in a game and expect to win it handedly. So those are my 2 big things. Talk about defense, get that structure solidified, and just stop taking so many penalties. There's our first game of the season. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next rundown.